Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesdays with Tessie. We are going to be starting a fun series called Tuesdays with Tessie. It is so foggy, but it's supposed to be really hot today. I got some emails and we're going to talk about it in today's episode. I had so much fun with my talk last week. It was so uplifting, and it was just a fun day for me to be able just to sit and talk with all of you. So I'm gonna find out, where do I want to sit today? Everything is still wet because of all the rain that we've been having, and the fog is quite weird. Before you know it, the sun will be out and then this fog will dissipate. So every Tuesday I'm gonna have a talk. Now it could be hundreds of different topics, and none of it is drama, none of it is negative, so you don't need to worry about any of that. So it's not going to be Drama Tuesday with Tessie. Yuck. I am not interested whatsoever in anything like that. But I am going to talk about things that people ask me to talk about, and I am going to talk about a lot of things that are important in people's lives and important in my life, and from one week to the next, you don't know. But I will have it listed in the description box, all the different topics that we're going to talk about each Tuesday. That way you can look at it and say, that's not for me. Oh, wow, what a day. It is supposed to be really hot. I have loads of laundry to hang up because I stripped our bed and washed our bedding. And I think that this sun is going to really bother me. I think I'm going to go and move. So give me a moment to move from this spot, because it's like I'm glaring like this and I'm like, hi everybody. So give me a second to move. One of the reasons why you often see me sitting here is because there's an overhang and our home is right in front of me, and so it kind of blocks out that bright sun. Even though it's somewhat bright, it's just not right on my face. I received some emails after last week's discussion, and I was amazed at the emails that I received. And I just want to say thank you guys for those who enjoyed it. And it just was really fun for me just to sit and talk, and I just felt like I got a lot off my chest. For weeks, I thought to myself, I'm not going to do any more talking, ever talk. I'm just going to do things, and that's just not me. I love to talk, and I know when you talk, you put yourself out there for the world, but I just love talking, and that's me. So to try to make my videos into somebody else, it's just not going to work, because I love to talk. So I thought, Tuesdays with Tessie. And it's a Tuesday, I can get everything off my chest, and then I can go on the day. So, fear mongering, we're going to talk about. Now, this is not a negative video. It's not talking about fear as far as in a negative way. And first thing I want to say is, because there are a few people that sometimes stumble onto my channel and they don't know me or anything about me. First thing I want to say is, my videos are not geared towards anyone in particular. So I don't talk about any channels or any person. I am not trying to be sneaky and talk about people. It has nothing to do with channels or anything like that when we talk about this subject. In fact, my husband even loves watching some of the powerhouse channels that would be more into talking about end times and fear and things like that. So it has nothing negative to do about any person, place, or thing. But it is talking a little bit about what my subscribers have been emailing me, and it's just so amazing. So one email I received was, she said that she really got involved in the fear of it all back in 2020, and she said it basically, she said it ruined her. You know, it ruined her faith, and it controlled her. So I want to tell you my story a little bit. I always loved having food. I always loved canning, freezing. I always loved being a prepper. I love being a prepper. I love getting 10-pound bags of flour and, you know, dividing it up in little bags. I love it. But what happened to me was, when this food I seen being thrown away in the dumpster, literally thrown in the dumpster, if I didn't take it, I got to the point where I just wanted to rescue everything. And then I kept thinking, well, you know, in a half a year, you know, we won't be able to buy any food no more. And a half a year, there'll be famine. And so I was doing all of this work. I was working myself to the bone. Just fear of it all, you know, fear of it. Well, I got to do this. I got to do that. I was doing, it was on my channel, I was doing hundreds and hundreds and pounds and pounds and carloads of this food for two reasons. One, I was a foodie and I didn't want to see it getting wasted. But two, I thought, you know, the end is near. Now, with that being said, the end could be near. It could be tomorrow. It could be in 100 years from now. I don't know. I'm not a prophet. I am not anybody that claims to be anything that is a spiritual advisor. But what I seen for me was every day I had that spirit of fear. I had that spirit of fear that all of this is going to happen to us. All that's going to happen to us. And my husband would watch these videos, and you know, a lot of it is informational. I think that it's good to get the information out there to people, you know, things that are happening. But you have to put in check what you are responding to. And, you know, I was hearing, you know, this is going to happen to us as a certain group of people, and this is going to be happening to us. And in time it will, because in the end times, things will happen. It's understandable. It's in the Bible. If you believe in the Bible and you believe in Revelations, there will things happen. But yet Jesus said, I have not given you a spirit of fear, but that of a sound mind. And so nowhere in the Bible is there teachings of that you do things out of fear. So when Noah was a prepper, I mean, there's so many stories in the Bible where God told people to prep. I believe prepping is in the Bible. I believe that we should prep. But nowhere in the Bible did it say that Noah ran around and he had fear to the point where he became obsessed. He did what he needed to do. He tried to share among the people. The people didn't listen. So when we do things out of fear, and when we try to get people to do things out of fear, I don't feel like that is of a right mindset. So if you have people that are saying, the Lord is coming back in 6 months, and you better do this, and you better do that, and you better do this, your children will starve, you have to really take a look at why they're saying it, and you just have to take a look on how you're responding to it. I remember many years ago, I think it was 1999, 98, I don't know what year, but you're gonna know what I'm talking about, a lot of you is. There was a prominent preacher that actually gave a date when Jesus was coming back. He was on the pulpit and there was thousands and thousands and thousands of people he had. He said, Jesus is coming back on this date. And I thought to myself back then, if he's coming back and you're so sure that, why are you selling your book? Why aren't you handing out your book? Because he was selling a book about it. And I thought to myself, if you really believe what you were saying, what is monetary value of the US money or the world money if Jesus was coming back? Why wouldn't you give your book away so people would learn about Christ and about whatever you were teaching? Why did you sell? Why were you selling that book? And so that is the thinking, and that is the thinking that I have when I hear things here and there. Okay, all right, if you really believe that this is happening and you really believe that is happening, why are you trying to make money off of it? Why are you trying? I know we need to have money to live, but if you're selling your program and you're selling your, you know, if you're selling your system about, you know, prepping because the Lord's coming back in so time, why are you not giving that away freely? Because if the Lord's coming back, you won't need that money. But then we got to go on the other side of it all. And the other side of it is, yes, prepping is in the Bible. We are to be accountable for our household. And, you know, the lazy man does not deserve his supper. I mean, you work, you toil, you work for what you need. And it's just amazes me when I talked last week a little bit about drama in the social arena now, not just YouTube, it's everywhere. I talked about that and I had such a response in my emails and in my comments about how the Lord is changing them as far as what they're listening to and fear mongering. And we have to take stock, people. We have to take stock of what is going on. We have to be aware of, yes, we are in a simmering pot of a lot of mess in this world. So imagine that you have a big stock pot and the world is in it, and it's just simmering and simmering and simmering. And yes, I tell my husband all the time that God will not be mocked, and I tell my husband all the time that the Bible is true. You know it's going to boil over. You just know it's going to do that. But we don't know when. And the thing is, what is happening now is it's becoming this big arena for all kinds of things that are based right. I believe they are based right. I believe that they're these things. But then you have all of this wild stuff. I mean, we're talking wild stuff. Whether it's true or it's not, I don't know. That's not me. But I'm saying is we need to, each person, the Bible says we are to test the spirits to know if they are of Him, of God. So if we hear something, we need to test in our spirit. Okay, am I going to act upon this, or is this something that's fanatical and is something like a snake salesman? So, a snake salesman. I love about history, and I do a lot of reading about history. And so back in the old days, you know, medicine was not what it is today, and doctors, it was a hard time to cure people of things. So you would have this snake salesman, and he would have his box with all of his tinctures and things in it. And they were cure-alls. And we know today that a lot of the cure, what was in them was actually really bad stuff. But he would be the salesman, and he would have a long list of things that this would cure. You know, for 10 cents, I'll give you this elixir, and this will cure you of this and this and this and this. And he was a snake salesman because it didn't cure him. A lot of it was sugar water with a little of this and that, and some of it had quinine, which in itself, you know, did some things that were probably good for you, but you know what I'm trying to say, it had a whole bunch of things in it. You know, in every area of life, we have snake salesmen, you know, and the snake salesmen are this and this and this. And so we have to determine, okay, is this just a gimmick? Is this just to get my attention? Or is this just for people just saying things? Or, you know, what is true and what is not? But I do know one thing, that God has not given us the spirit of fear. And if you have fear, trembling fear over what is happening, and it is a fear that is affecting you, and you're obsessed with that, God did not give that to you. Now, yes, we are to see the Lord with trembling because we are to honor the Lord and we are to respect the Lord. I'm not talking about that, and 99% of you understand what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you become obsessed that every dollar you have to stock up on food when you have 5 years of food. I'm talking about how I was. I'm talking about how, when is it enough? When is it enough? You know, when is it too much? When does it overtake your life? When is it to the point where you have so much and it's taken over your life? That is what we need to look at. So yes, prepping is amazing. And listening to people and they talk about the world and what's happening, that can really help us just to get an idea of what's going on in the world. I'm not telling you to dig a hole, bury your head in it, and just not worry about the world. We are to be in the world, but not of it. But what I'm talking about is when that is obsessing on you and that's all you can do is watch that and listen to it 24/7, it will affect you. It will affect everyone. It will affect everyone. I realize that with my canning. You know, it's in moderation, Tessie. Come on. Your children will have food. You have food stored. You don't need to do all of this because, let's face it, let's say this. If the world got to the point where it was so bad, would I really want to be here? Would I really want it when it gets to that point, if it would get to that point where starvation and things like that? We can't store up treasures here on earth. My food was my treasure. I know, it sounds so dumb, right? You'd think that silver and gold in a safe would be a treasure. My food was my treasure. My food was my comfort. Oh, look at the food I have here today. Look at the food I'm doing here tomorrow. Homestead Tessie is going to save the world. But where your treasure lies, so does your heart. And we are not to have treasures here on earth. So yes, fear-mongering is a thing, but it's up to you to determine what is fear-mongering in your life. For me, I'm super sensitive, so fear-mongering for me doesn't take a whole lot. Then my husband, he enjoys watching things like that to a certain extent. Then he gets tired of it. And he's like, I can't watch this no more. But so it's one of those things. I can't come on here and say, okay, this is fear-mongering, this isn't. It's not up to me. It's not my decision. Each and every individual person, when they watch channels or watch people, they know if it's getting to the point where it's obsessing over it. They know if they're learning from it, then it's a positive experience for them. And they know if it's not, and they know if it's starting to take over their life. Each person has to determine for themselves what has crossed the line. I really want to thank you guys so much for enjoying talking with me. And I want to thank to all of you who reached out to me and shared with me your stories. I would love to share the stories, but because they are intimate and I don't have approval from the people, I am not going to go and say specific things. But I do know that God has placed me on this channel for a reason. And back in 2020, a lot of people found me and a lot of people continued to watch me. And they said over that time, they were just glad to watch someone that just was more calming. And there's a lot of calming channels out there. There's absolutely a lot. So it's a melting pot of just about anything that you want. So if you're interested in my kind of videos, I'm here. If you're interested in the kind of videos where they're talking just a lot of things, a lot of things to process, this channel's there. It's an amazing world. And I say this every day. It is an amazing world that we can turn on a YouTube channel. We can decide if it's something that's going to bless us or benefit us. And we decide if it's something that's going to be detrimental to our health. So I've watched different videos, and after a couple of minutes, I'm like, oh, I don't want to watch this, and I just click off of it. Wow, what a world we live in. Isn't it amazing, though? Because we have so much information. I think we have too much information just being, crammed into our brains. And, that's another thing in the Bible said, when the times are at end, there's going to be so much knowledge. I think that too much knowledge maybe can hurt us. And in the Bible, it talks about, having all of this knowledge in the end times. Yes, we are headed towards the end times. Yes, I believe the end times is sometime. I just don't know when. And until then, I'm just going to share with you my life. And I will see you guys again tomorrow, but I can't promise that. I know a lot of my videos I say, and I'll promise it's tomorrow. Nope. I can't promise that, but I can promise you I made a video, and I can promise you that it's uploaded and ready to go, but I can't promise you I'll be here. Take care, everyone. We'll see you guys again next Tuesday for Tuesday Talk. I'll see you guys again tomorrow for the rest of my regular videos. Bye. So here's the deal, my friends. If there is a topic, any topic that you wish for me to discuss, please send me an email. My email is under every single video in the description box. If I don't hear from you, then I'm just going to come up with stuff on my own. Any questions or any comments or anything you want me to share, email me.